Trap yourself before it's too late. Introduction. There is a version of you that is slowly dying every single day, and you are watching it happen in total silence. It is not because you are weak. It is not because you lack the talent or the intelligence to achieve something great. It is simply because you got used to running away. You have trained your mind to become a master of survival through escape. Every time life demands a real step forward, you push your true life into a fictional tomorrow, a day that, deep down, you know will never come. This script is not a temporary dose of cheap motivation. It is not a collection of beautiful words designed to make you feel good for 5 minutes before you go back to your old routine. This is a brutal, honest confrontation with the person you have become, and a clear look at the person you were actually meant to be. Over the next 90 days, your perspective on reality will change. You will discover exactly how to force yourself into growth, how to burn your escape routes so that retreat is no longer an option, and how to build a mind that refuses to break when the initial excitement fades. The question has never been whether you are capable of changing your life. The real question, the only one that matters right now, is this: do you have the courage to stand in front of the mirror, drop the excuses, and finally begin? Chapter 1. The beginning everyone fears. Let us start with a truth that most people spend their entire lives running away from. You do not suffer from a lack of knowledge. You live in an era where information is everywhere. You know exactly what you need to do to change your current reality. You know you need to wake up earlier. You know you need to stop scrolling mindlessly through your phone. You know you need to take care of your physical body. And you know you need to work on your own dream, instead of spending your energy watching other people build theirs. You know all of this. You have read the books, you have watched the videos, and you have made the promises. Yet, day after day, you remain exactly where you are. Why? Why is there a massive canyon between what you know and what you actually do? Because knowing the path is completely different from having the courage to walk it. Most people want the rewards of a new life, but they want to achieve them using their old mindset. They want a strong, healthy body, but they refuse to drop the habits that make them tired. They want financial freedom, but they keep the same limited, fearful way of thinking about money. They want a deeply fulfilling life, but they refuse to touch the areas of their character that cause them pain. They prefer the safety of their current misery over the uncertainty of real change. The hard truth: real change is never a comfortable experience. It is a shocking, painful moment of absolute honesty. It is the moment you look at your life and realize that your current situation is not the result of bad luck, it is not the result of your circumstances, and it is not the fault of the people around you. Your life right now is the direct result of your repeated choices. When you accept this, a terrifying thing happens: you lose your excuses. People do not fear failure as much as they fear the heavy weight of responsibility that comes with making a true decision. When you have no one else to blame, you are forced to act. You are forced to look at your laziness and call it what it is. Your new life does not require a miracle from the outside world. It requires a completely different version of you from the inside. It requires a version of you that moves forward, even when the fear is loud. It requires a version that stops planning and starts executing. Chapter 2. Burn your escape routes. Have you ever wondered why most people start their goals with incredible energy, only to abandon them a few weeks later? They write down beautiful plans on the first day of the month, They talk with absolute confidence about how this time things will be different, and then, at the very first sign of true exhaustion, they disappear. They quit with a speed that is almost shocking. The reason for this failure is simple: they left a back door open. They entered the battle of change, while keeping a perfect escape route right behind them. When your mind knows that running away is an easily available option, it will never fight for your dreams. The human brain is a highly evolved survival mechanism. Its primary job is to conserve energy, and keep you safe within the comfort of what is familiar. The moment you experience pressure, or boredom, or fatigue, your brain will instantly become an expert at inventing highly logical excuses. It will whisper to you that you are too tired today, that you can always start again next Monday, or that the external conditions are not perfect yet. And because the escape door is wide open, you take it. You walk away, promising yourself you will return stronger, but you rarely do. There is a legendary historical story about a commander who sailed his army to an enemy island. The moment his men stepped onto the shore, he gave a shocking order: burn the ships. He looked at his soldiers as the smoke rose into the sky and said, "We either win this battle, or we die here. There is no going back." That is the exact level of psychological intensity you need to apply to your own life. You must burn your metaphorical ships. There is a massive difference between a person who simply wants to succeed and a person who has decided that turning back is a physical impossibility. The first person acts only when their mood is right. The second person acts because they made a non-negotiable decision. To change your life, you cannot rely on weak wishes. You must trap yourself on purpose. You must create an environment where staying the same is far more painful and embarrassing than moving forward. Cut off the toxic relationships that drag you back to your old identity. Spend the money up front for your education or health so that you have skin in the game. Put yourself in a position where the only way out is through growth. Chapter 3: The 90-Day Rule. We live in a culture that is deeply addicted to speed. We want instant gratification, overnight success, and immediate transformations. When people decide to change their lives, they expect to see massive, undeniable results within 3 days. When they look in the mirror and see that nothing has visibly changed, an overwhelming sense of disappointment takes over, and they stop. They fail to understand a fundamental law of the universe, the law of compounding. Real, lasting change does not happen in a single day, but it can completely rewrite your destiny if you commit to a strict 90-day window. 90 days is a psychological sweet spot. It is short enough to remain focused, without losing sight of the finish line, yet it is long enough to physically alter the neural pathways in your brain. You are not a static, unchangeable object. Your identity is a direct reflection of your repeated daily actions. If you repeat laziness every day, you become a lazy person. If you repeat discipline every day, you become a disciplined person. It is a simple equation, yet its consequences are heavy. Think of your progress like a single drop of water, falling onto a solid rock every single day. On the first day, the drop hits the rock, and nothing happens. On the 10th day, the drop hits the rock, and still, there is no visible sign of change. A foolish observer would look at this and say that the water is wasting its time. But the water does not care about immediate results, it cares about consistency. It keeps falling, day after day, week after week. Then, after months of quiet, unceasing pressure, the rock suddenly splits in half. The rock did not break because of the last drop of water, It broke because of the cumulative force of every single drop that came before it. Do not make the classic mistake of trying to change every single aspect of your existence in 24 hours. That is a guaranteed recipe for mental burnout. Instead, focus entirely on mastering the next 24 hours, and then repeat that process tomorrow. Imagine the version of you that will exist after 90 days of waking up early, eating clean food, reading books that expand your mind, and dedicating uninterrupted hours to your primary goal. You will look back at the person you are right now, and you will feel like you are looking at a total stranger. Chapter 4. Trap yourself publicly. Have you ever wondered why so many people fail to achieve their goals, even when they possess genuine intentions, beautiful plans, and high levels of initial enthusiasm? The hidden reason is very simple: they try to change in complete secrecy. They keep their dreams safely locked inside the privacy of their own minds. They tell themselves, "I will work quietly, and let my success make the noise." It sounds like a wise strategy, but deep down, it is a survival trick created by their fear. When you keep your goals a secret, you are protecting yourself from the pain of failure. If you lose your discipline, if you hit the snooze button, if you quit after a single week, nothing happens. No one knows. No one is waiting for you. There is no social cost, no embarrassment, and no consequence. You simply slide back into your old, comfortable life, pretending you never even tried. But the human brain is a deeply social organ. It operates under a completely different set of rules when it knows it is being observed by others. There is a powerful, primal psychological mechanism built into all of us: the intense fear of losing our reputation and facing public embarrassment. When you learn to use this fear correctly, it stops being a weakness and becomes your greatest source of leverage. By trapping yourself publicly, you turn a weak personal wish into a high-stakes social contract. Think about your own past experiences. How many times have you broken a promise you made to yourself in the dark? Probably hundreds of times. But how many times have you stayed up all night to finish a project just because your boss, your clients, or your colleagues were expecting it from you the next morning? The difference is not in your capability, the difference is the level of external psychological pressure you placed upon your shoulders. If you are truly serious about changing your reality over the next 90 days, you must step out of the shadows. Stop hiding. Announce your destination clearly and loudly to the people around you. Tell your friends, your family, or your online audience exactly what you are going to achieve and the exact deadline for it. Share your daily progress, even on the days when you fail. Put your money on the line by creating a financial bet with someone you respect, a bet where you lose a significant amount of money if you do not follow through. When you do this, you change the nature of the game. Your lazy mind will no longer have the luxury of negotiating in secret. When the alarm goes off at 5 a.m., and your body begs for comfort, your brain will suddenly realize that sleeping in means breaking a public promise. It means looking weak in front of the world. Suddenly, staying committed becomes far less painful than the thought of facing public failure. You do not need more motivation, you simply need a situation that forces you to be better. Chapter 5. Kill yesterday's version. One of the greatest illusions that keeps people trapped in a cycle of mediocrity is the belief that they can build a magnificent new life while remaining the exact same person. They want the rewards of success, they want the financial freedom, and they want the respect of others, but they want to achieve all of it, while keeping the exact same mindset, the same daily habits, and the same level of comfort that brought them to their current state of dissatisfaction. But there is a brutal reality that you must accept right now. The version of you that created your current life is completely incapable of building your future life. Real transformation is not about adding a few good habits to your day, like a coat of paint on a crumbling wall. Real transformation is an act of destruction and reconstruction. It is an internal war between the person you used to be and the person you are trying to become. And this is precisely why most people quit. They are terrified of losing the familiar, comfortable version of themselves that they have known for years. The version of you that exists today loves safety. It loves to delay tasks until tomorrow. It loves the instant gratification of social media. It loves long hours of sleep, and it hates any form of pressure or discomfort. The moment you decide to step onto the path of discipline, this old version will fight back with incredible intensity. Every single morning, you will feel a heavy, invisible resistance pulling you back down into the bed. This resistance is not a sign that you are failing, it is a sign that the old version is fighting for its survival. It is trying to protect the familiar routine, even if that routine is slowly killing your potential. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are executing a piece of your old self. When you force yourself to work through the boredom, when you choose a book over a screen, when you step into the cold air of the morning, while the rest of the world is sleeping, you are starving your old habits and feeding your new identity. Look back at your life honestly. What has your desire for comfort actually cost you so far? How many brilliant ideas have died because you chose to wait for a better day? How many years have passed by, looking exactly like the year before, simply because you were too afraid to break the routine that numbs you? Comfort is not a reward, it is a highly secure prison. It doesn't hurt you suddenly, it steals your life slowly, day by day, until you wake up one morning, with a heart full of regret, and a life that is far below what you were capable of achieving. If you want a new beginning, you must find the courage to say goodbye to the version of yesterday. Chapter 6. Discipline over motivation. When you first begin your 90-day journey, everything feels remarkably easy. You are filled with a rush of adrenaline, and a beautiful vision of your future self. You jump out of bed early, you work with intense focus, and you look at the path ahead with absolute confidence. You falsely assume that this energetic, inspired version of you will stay around forever. But then, after a week or two, a sudden shift happens. The initial excitement completely vanishes. You wake up one morning, and the tasks ahead feel incredibly heavy. The weather is cold, your body feels tired, and your mind begins to ask dangerous questions. Why am I doing this to myself? Does it really matter if I take a break today? Maybe I need to listen to my body and rest. This precise moment is the ultimate filtering system of life. This is where the crowd separates from the chosen few. Most people fall apart here, not because they lack capability, but because they built their entire life strategy on a temporary, unstable emotion called motivation. Motivation is a wonderful feeling, but it is completely unreliable. It is deeply tied to your daily hormones, your environment, the amount of sleep you got, and your current mood. If you only write when you feel creative, if you only study when you feel inspired, and if you only exercise when you have high energy, you are living your life under the control of your passing moods. You are letting your emotions dictate your future. True success is not built in the moments when you are feeling inspired. It is built in the dark, quiet, unglamorous moments, when you do not want to do anything, but you force yourself to show up anyway. That is the definition of discipline, the ability to execute what needs to be done, regardless of your emotional state. It means treating your decisions as non-negotiable laws. There will be many days during these 90 days when you will absolutely hate the process. You will look at your slow progress and feel a deep sense of frustration. You will look at people who are resting and feel a wave of envy. But this is exactly where your true character is forged. Anyone can perform at a high level when they are happy and excited. Only a deeply disciplined individual can perform at a high level when they are bored, exhausted, and filled with doubt. Stop searching for motivation. Build an unshakable daily system that runs automatically, whether you feel like it or not. Motivation gets you to the starting line, but discipline is the only force that will carry you across the finish. Chapter 7: The Circle of Fire. You can possess the strongest willpower in the world, you can be filled with discipline, and you can fight your own weaknesses with incredible bravery for days, or even weeks. But there is an environmental law that you cannot escape. If you return every single day to an environment that drains your energy, you will eventually collapse. Your environment is the invisible hand that designs your fate. It shapes the way you talk, the height of your ambitions, the standards you accept, and the exact image you hold of yourself in your mind. You do not live in a vacuum, you live inside a continuous loop of social influence. The people you allow into your close circle, the conversations you listen to daily, the type of media you consume, and the general attitude toward success and failure in your immediate surroundings, all of these elements are either building your empire or digging your grave, and they are doing it completely in silence. This is the reason why so many people feel like they are trapped on a treadmill, running hard but always returning to zero. They are trying to grow a beautiful, healthy tree inside a toxic, polluted soil. They want to build an exceptional life, but they are constantly surrounded by people who find comfort in being average. They are surrounded by friends who mock self-improvement, who view hard work as a waste of time, and who are deeply threatened by anyone who tries to escape the status quo. When you spend your time with people who have given up on their own dreams, your mind begins to slowly adapt to their low standards. You begin to see their laziness as normal behavior. You begin to tone down your own ambitions, just to make them feel comfortable around you. If you want to survive the next 90 days, and emerge as a powerful version of yourself, you must construct a circle of fire. You must deliberately place yourself inside a boundary that burns away your weakness. You need to seek out environments, mentors, and communities where discipline is simply the standard, where high ambition is respected, and where lazy excuses are met with cold silence. This requires an incredibly painful and difficult choice. It means you will have to drastically reduce your interactions with certain people. Not because you hate them, and not because you think you are better than them, but because you understand that their lack of direction is a contagious disease. There are people in your life who will extinguish your fire with a single sarcastic comment. And there are others, whose mere presence forces you to stand taller, work harder, and think bigger. Choose your circle with absolute ruthlessness. Your future life depends entirely on the soil you choose to plant yourself in today. Chapter 8: Days of Crashing and Doubt. There will come a day, and you must understand this is an absolute certainty, when everything you are doing will feel too heavy to carry. You will wake up one morning, and your energy will be at absolute zero. Your passion will be gone. Your vision of the future will look blurry, and your faith in your own capability will completely vanish. You will look at the long, steep road ahead of you, and a dark, heavy voice in your mind will ask, is all of this pain and sacrifice really worth it? This is the phase that no one ever talks about in those flashy, high-energy motivational videos. Everyone loves to celebrate the powerful beginnings and the glorious finish lines. But the real battle of transformation is fought in the silent trenches of the days of crashing. In these dark moments, the primary danger is not the physical exhaustion of your body, it is the psychological warfare taking place inside your mind. When your energy is low, your brain will weaponize your past against you. It will replay every single mistake you have ever made. It will remind you of the times you quit before, whispering that you are simply trying to be someone you are not, and that real success belongs to a different class of human beings. If you listen to that voice, you will begin a slow, quiet retreat back into your old life. The rule of survival: when you are walking through hell, don't stop to look around. Do not try to evaluate your life, your progress, or your future goals on a day when your mind is completely exhausted. Your brain will give you nothing but wrong answers. Every single icon of success you look up to has stood exactly where you are standing right now. The only difference between those who change their lives and those who remain stuck is how they interpret this doubt. The average person sees doubt as a sign to pack up and stop. The exceptional person sees doubt as a natural tax that must be paid for stepping out of mediocrity. Your mind is trying to shed its old skin, and that process is deeply uncomfortable. On your hardest days, you do not need to perform like a hero. You do not need to break records. You simply need to avoid disappearing. If your plan was to study for 4 hours, but you can barely think, study for 20 minutes. If your plan was to run 5 miles, but your body is breaking, walk for 10 minutes. Keep the chain unbroken. A bad day does not mean you have a bad life, and a moment of weakness does not erase the progress you have built. Your new life is not rewarded to the fastest runner, but to the person who refuses to leave the field, no matter how hard it rains. Chapter 9: Building the New Identity. Why do the vast majority of people who achieve a temporary burst of success eventually lose it all and slide back to zero? They go on a strict diet for a month, they build a business for a season, or they read books for a few weeks, and then, slowly but surely, they return to the exact lifestyle they fought so hard to escape. They did not fail because their strategy was wrong. They failed because they tried to change their external results, without changing their internal identity. They focused entirely on what they were doing, while completely ignoring who they believed they were. There is a fundamental psychological law that governs all human behavior. Your actions will always, without exception, align with the deepest picture you hold of yourself in your subconscious mind. If you still view yourself as a lazy, uninspired person who simply got lucky for a few weeks, your brain will become deeply uncomfortable with your new success. It will view your discipline as an unnatural state, and it will actively find ways to sabotage your progress, until you match your old, comfortable identity. True transformation does not occur when you achieve a goal, it occurs when your goal becomes an organic part of who you are. Look at the profound difference in language between two people trying to build a habit. The first person says, "I am trying to build a business." The second person says, "I am an entrepreneur." The first person is still operating under the identity of a bystander, who is testing the waters. The moment a wave hits them, they will quit. The second person has anchored their entire self-worth into their title. For them, quitting is not just stopping a task, it is a betrayal of their own name. Every single choice you make during these 90 days is not just a checkbox on a to-do list. It is a vote for the person you are becoming. When you hit the snooze button, you are voting for the old, unreliable version of yourself. When you push through the fatigue and complete your work, you are casting a powerful vote for your new identity. In the first few weeks, this new identity will feel incredibly fake. You will feel like an actor playing a role that is too big for you. That is completely normal. The human brain builds identity through concrete evidence, not through empty wishes. It doesn't care about your dreams, it cares about your patterns. Once you stack up dozens of days of unbroken discipline, your brain will look at the data and realize, we don't run away anymore. We are no longer the person who makes excuses. Once you shift your identity, the battle ends. Discipline stops being a heavy weight you carry, and becomes the natural rhythm of your everyday existence. Chapter 10. Beyond 90 Days. When you finally cross the finish line of these 90 days of absolute commitment, an extraordinary shift will have taken place inside your world. You will look at your reflection in the mirror, and you will realize that you are no longer the same person who stood there 3 months ago. Your mental resilience is higher. Your relationship with discomfort has changed. You have proved to yourself, through blood, sweat, and silence, that you are capable of taking control of your destiny. But it is precisely at this moment of victory that you will face your most dangerous trial. The ultimate test of transformation is not reaching the peak of the mountain, it is remaining there without falling off. Many people can survive a short-term challenge when they have a countdown timer keeping them focused. But once the 90 days are over, a dangerous illusion of safety begins to creep into the mind. Your brain will whisper that